So, looks like we're here, if I remember right. It's been a bit since I've been to this place.
Yeah, this is it. Just like the good old days, too. Looks like some things never change. Thank goodness for that.
Looks like they're pretty busy with the after Halloween special. They even have a lot of their stuff for like over half off.
That's true. But you know everybody does that. They buy all this stuff for Halloween at the store and have all those leftovers that nobody wants after everything is done. So they sell them off as cheap as they can get, whatever the price, just so it's out of their sight.
Hey, those two behind the counter, they kinda look like... Wait, I think that's them.
What? Hold on, let me see. But they're so old. They look like they could be my grandparents. I knew it was gonna be bad, but how can you prepare to see your parents look so dead?
Do you wanna go in? It could...
No. I don't need that. Not now. It's only gonna make it worse if I walk in there with them. Just give me a minute, okay?
Okay.
You know, sometimes I wish I stayed with them. I don't know how different things would be, but at least I would be close with them.
You and I both know that that's not how it works. If it did, the whole world would be a whole lot happier.
Well, it did once. Things did work out for someone. For a child and their parents. A few years ago, I had a baby named Thomas. He was born very early and died a few days after birth. It was horrible. My first child. My son. About a week after, my husband and I encountered some strange happenings. Some nights, we could hear an infant crying from inside the house. We thought maybe it was the TV or the neighbors, even when we shut all the windows. The crying could still be heard. Months after, we would hear baby laughing or screaming. We kept all of his baby toys, planning on having a house full of kids. Many times, I would walk into his nursery to find toys scattered and lined up as if a child has just played in the room. About 2 years later, I found a drawing on the wall. It was a picture of 2 tall people and a small person. The tall ones had Mom and Dad written over them. The small person had Thomas written over it. I know that my Thomas would never harm me. Therefore, I do not fear him. He's soon to be 7 years old, and I am very interested in getting to know him.
Are you okay now?
Well, that's a stupid question to ask.
I know, But still...
Yeah, I know what you meant. I don't know, though. I guess I'll be okay as I'll ever be. It's just... It's hard.
I know it is, but you were the one that wanted to come here.
I know that. I wanted this, and now I got it. Not much else I can say about it.
Come on. I think it's best that we start heading out now. Besides, it's getting late and we still have places to go to.
Yeah, I know. Let's get going.
I was going to save this one for later, but I think you need it more now than later. Besides, it will help keep your mind busy. I've been an avid swimmer and diver ever since I was in my late teens. As I got into various jobs and out of high school, I never lost my enthusiasm for diving. So, when I had an opportunity to apply for a law enforcement related diving job, I instantly jumped for it. Not a lot of people are interested in a job that involves feeling around at the bottom of muddy lakes and streams for dead bodies. But I figured, if it involved diving, I may as well put my hobby to good use. In the diving academy, where I had to go no matter how much experience I had, they taught us techniques for how to find things you're searching for underwater. It's not always bodies. You understand, sometimes it's guns or stolen property or cars. They taught us about currents and eddies and all those things that can affect where something will end up underwater. One of the trainees asked a question one day while we were preparing to get into our diving pool. He asked the instructor if it wasn't creepy underwater with zero visibility, touching everything to see if it's a dead corpse. The instructor seemed a little amused, and yet he had a strange look on his face. "You don't know half of it," he said. "We're dealing with people's fathers and brothers and sons down there, and we're always respectful and do our jobs with professionalism. When you're out there, on the job, no matter what happens, no matter, you'll be just that. Respectful and professional." The way he said it was odd. Like there was something that he wanted to get across to us, but wasn't going to come right out and say it. What could I do? I shrugged and let myself fall backwards into the pool. And later in the year, I was on the job. It was all routine for days. Then, we got a call for a missing person, and we were to search the bottom of a large pond. 3 of us were going to the water, with support personnel above. The officer assigned to give me on-the-job training checked my equipment and guidelines. And he knew this was my first body search, and though I tried to look confident and like I wasn't nervous, he must have known my true feelings. He took me a few steps off to the side. "Look," he told me, "they are things they don't teach you at school. If there's a girl down there, we'll find her. Don't worry about the mud and lack of visibility. Just stick close to me and learn, my friend." He slapped me on the shoulder and we were into the water. I was used to zero visibility. We had dived in our indoor pool with no lights on many times. Guidelines to the boats helped keep us oriented as to direction. And I kept one hand on my training officer's tank harness. I noticed after a while that he did not seem to be hugging the bottom, feeling around for arms and legs, and though I couldn't see, I had the distinct impression he was intentionally swimming a couple of feet above the bottom. I couldn't detect movement showing he was feeling around. I tried to feel around though. My left hand and arm were constantly sweeping while I hung on tight with my right. I could tell he was running a grid pattern, not missing any territory, covering one area completely before moving to the next. What I didn't understand, unless I was just wrong, was why he would go back over the same area again several minutes later. Wasn't that a waste of time? And then I felt something. Was it a fish? The back of my hand hit something as I was waving it about. I reached back again, and then it happened. Something latched onto my left wrist with all its might. At first I thought it was a third diver playing a joke on me. And then, to my horror, I realized that it was not. Oh, this was a hand, all right, but it was cold and hard and held me in a death grip. I panicked, I admit it. I let go of my training officer and flipped over on my back and started thrashing with my free arms and both legs. I lost my breathing apparatus. All I wanted to do is rid myself of this thing hanging on me. And it did let go. Before I could break free to the top and get some air and scream, my training officer grabbed back onto me. He quickly found and shoved my regulator into my mouth, and he wouldn't let me go until I quit thrashing and trying to get topside. When I calmed down, he made me grab onto his harness again. Then he circled around until he found what had grabbed onto me. The dead woman's corpse, which wasn't on the bottom, but was floating a few feet above. And then we did our standard work, securing the body and getting her to the boat. On shore, this is what he told me. That woman did not grab your wrist. We swam around, stirred things up, got her body to float up off the bottom so we could find her easier. Your wrist happened to hit her hand just right, and you snagged her. That's all. And then he told me the thing that no one talks about. He said, and the next time the same thing happens, you remember what I told you. You remember what I told you. And I have. 4 times now.